Alright, welcome back to the Parahooners. So this episode is focused on landings. Been such a journey learning how to land properly. Seemed to had a couple of good landings at school. You start stretching your legs and going out on your own, and it's so easy to get into bad habits. What I did is persevered through those bad habits, made quite a few bad landings, and figured it out in the end, so I thought I'd share this in this video. This is a particularly bad landing that I made, captured on a 360 camera. Basically, I just did not flare in this. So I went through a phase of flaring too early and being dumped. Then I went through a phase of land fast, where I just wasn't flaring at all. This was one of them. So I'm like hitting the deck with my hands in the air. Stupid. So this is Matt. You see this white and red wing, that's Matt. That's perfect every bloody time. Annoying. And this is Lloyd. Lloyd's taken a similar learning pattern to me. He's done some really good landings, and he's done some bum landings, and yeah, there's a knack. And there's some things I've learnt. So I thought I'd just share, give you some of my tips. Maybe they'll help you, maybe they won't. Maybe I'm thinking about it all wrong, but it seems to help. I'm landing on my feet every time at the moment, so I'm much more happy about the landings. I've kept this in. I've tried to keep third-person view videos in, but this one still shocks me to this day how I landed on my feet. Look how fast I'm travelling, and this was a powered-on landing, and I literally just ran my arse off and landed on my feet. Still blows my mind. So while these clips are playing, you can just try and look at the hand positions. You can see whether the landing's going to go right or wrong by that flare. The flare is everything. But there's some other things that play a factor. First of all, giving yourself enough time. Are you out your seat nice and early? Are your straps too tight? That was a problem I had to start with. You can see in this one, my straps were quite tight, and it was pulling me back. Oh, bad landing. It was pulling me back into the harness, so I couldn't get my chest forward, which meant when my feet did touch the ground, I couldn't run because I was being pulled back into the seat. So there's a top tip. Make sure your straps aren't too tight. Obviously you don't want them too loose, but too tight's worse, I think. Get your straps nice and loose. Give yourself loads of time. Set up for that landing. Get out your seat. When it's right, kill the engine. And be ready to run. Get them legs down working. You can see in this, I'm sitting still. And the biggest problem with that landing there was I flared too early. And then I got dumped. My airspeed was really slow. So it's about keeping your airspeed up. Coming in hot. And then using a really good flare to bleed that energy off right at the last minute. Bleed the energy off and then dump it at the end. And the thing that really turned the tables for me was actually watching one of Giles Fowler's videos. I think it was after the COVID prohibition that we had back in the air, and Giles decided to just spend a little while at the airfield, just practicing doing circuits, landing, doing bits and bobs. And something really resonated with me, and that was check to level. You're coming down, and it's getting that pressure to check yourself to level, to scoot along the ground before you dump it. So you want to be quite fast at that point. You want airspeed. And another great top tip as well is, when I started getting into bad habits, I was thinking about my hand positions. You need to be concentrating on pressure. It's what pressure are you getting? Because hand positions is different for every pilot, different setups. It's not the same. It's all about the pressure that you're feeling, the feedback you're getting from the wing. So you feel for that. You see, as you're coming in for that check to level, if you push too hard, you start going up again. So just back it off just a tiny touch. Not too much. We don't want big movements down there. This is an interesting landing. basically I realised that I was running out of space. So I put in a turn before. And what that did, because I was too low, it gave me a bit of a swing, which basically meant I had to land on one foot a little bit crooked. But it all went well, because I got the flare right. If you get the flare right, it just gives you more time. So that's my top tips. Make sure your straps aren't too tight. Get out your seat nice and early. Get that engine off. Come in fast. As you get, I don't know, about your own height a couple of meters maybe, you want to be thinking about adding enough pressure to check the level. So you scoot along the ground. And when you get right to the end of that, you'll feel it. It'll bleed the speed off. You give that last blip of pressure, and that's going to push all the way down to the ground, which will just tap you onto the floor. And don't forget, you haven't landed until that wing is on the ground, so control it. Don't do what I used to do and just slam the thing out in front of you. Have a bit more about you than that. Try and turn around, control the wing, bring it down nice and gentle. Look after it. It's an expensive bit of kit. So there's my top tips. Thanks for watching. See you next time.